welcome back. So this week is a Victoria Sponge week, okay? So a nice simple one, but a very classic cake to make, but very, very simple. So let's have a look over here what we're going to need. You're going to need 200 grams of softened butter, 200 grams of self-raising flour, a tablespoon of baking powder, some vanilla essence just for flavouring, 200 grams of caster sugar, and then to fill the cake, you're going to need some double cream whipped up, some strawberry jam or any jam of your preference, it doesn't have to be strawberry. For the mixture, you'll need 2 tablespoons of milk and 4 eggs as well. Okay, so let's get crack-a-lacking because it is baking time. Okay, so first of all, let's get our sieve out. We haven't got our sieve. Oh, not that one. Seen in all my cupboards. So, what we're going to do is we're going to sieve our self-raising flour into our mixing bowl. Okay, so here's some that I've already measured out. I don't know who I think I am, but let's get it in there. Okay, so we're just going to in like so, and again if you've got any little bits that aren't going in, just give them a nice little pat with your spoon. Okay, or your finger, no that's not going to go in. Okay, so we'll just leave that to one side because what's really important when you're making a Victoria sponge is that you cream the butter and the sugar together to make that a nice consistency. Okay, so I'm just going to put my softened butter in there. It's only softened because I've had it out of the fridge, so I just let it naturally go soft. You can microwave it for a few seconds if you wish to do that, but I'm just doing it that way. I might just chop it up a bit more as well, to be fair, just to make it a bit easier to mix together. So just using my spoon just to make those chunks a bit smaller really. Alright, so I'm going to add my caster sugar straight to the bowl, and you are going to need a bit of elbow grease for this because it's not really simple. If you've got a mixing bowl, an electric one, that's much easier, believe me, but I'm not posh like that, so it's a bit of elbow grease for Mel. And if you're anything like me, you end up with one arm that's a bit stronger than the other arm. Anyone who's done fitness with me with weights will just be laughing at that because I don't have any strength in any of my arms, but you know, you keep smiling. So as you see, it takes ages, this bit, but it's okay, we'll get there in the end. And remember, if you're doing this with little ones as well, just give them lots of encouragement for this bit because it does take absolutely ages if you're not using an electric mixing bowl, that is. Okay. So we're going to put some elbow grease in this, guys, and get crack-a-lacking. So once you start to really mix up the big buttery bits, it will start to get easier and then it will start to mix a lot quicker as well. Okay, so probably a good tip there is to maybe put it in the microwave a bit to make sure it's much softer than it is right now. Okay, so it's already starting to go a bit creamy, I can see that, and I'm already having a hot flush, so I know I'm working my strength. So whilst we're doing this, have a think, which is your favourite cake? If you've got little ones out there watching as well, what do they like to make best and what's their favourite part of baking? Is it licking the bowl at the end when it's all mixed? Is it using your strength and mixing? Is it measuring the different ingredients and doing some maths, thinking about quarters and fractions within that? Is it getting all of it together or just having fun making a big mess with it all? What is your favourite part of baking with mummy and daddy or with grandma and granddad or your teachers or your friends? Okay, so you can see now it's starting to get to a better consistency, but it's still not where we want it to be. Okay, so we want it a bit creamier than that. So what I'm going to do with that now is I'm going to add my 4 eggs, and that'll just make it a bit of a better consistency as well for mixing it into a cream. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, I hope you're counting with me, 3, plop. And last but not least, number 4. Okay, so I'm gonna get some kitchen roll for my fingers. Alright, so that should make it a bit easier now to be mixing it together. So let's have another go. Using that egg yolk and the egg whites there as well. So if you're watching this and you've actually used an electric mixer and you're laughing your head off at me having to use all my strength, then thanks for that. Thanks, guys. But if you're like me and you're using your elbow grease to do it, well done, because it takes some doing. Especially if you're one of our little ones watching, well done. Okay, so that's coming on now, starting to get better. Much easier mixture to mix around. But still, that butter is still not as soft as I want it to be, so I'm still gonna mix away. Okay. So we get this into a nice consistency before we add it to the flour, and it's much easier to mix it together then, really, rather than putting it all in together. And like I said before, the key to a good Victoria sponge, which is what Grandma Pam taught me, is that you must cream the sugar and the butter together first. Okay, so I'm just going to add those tablespoons of milk as well to this mixture, so we're not forgetting them. So 1, 2, and I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla essence just for flavouring as well. Okay, and then we need to add our baking powder. If I can get into it. So just 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm just going to put that into the flour, but making sure I've not missed it off. And just flatten it off, like so. That'll just help it to rise as well. Even though we have used self-raising flour, it's just another good tip to help it to rise. Alright, for those of you that might think that's crazy that we're using both. Right, let's get back to this then. Let's see if I can master this, guys. Or I might just sack it off and wrap it all in anyway. Okay, so we're getting there. I think what I'm going to do is change from my wooden spoon and have a go with my metal whisk, because that might just be a bit easier to mix it all through. That's better. There we go. Like we're getting our Yorkshire puddings or our pancakes made. Okay, so we just want to try and get rid of those lumps if we can. And obviously remember it's been chilled at some point, so that does change the consistency and makes it a bit lumpier, so we have to bear that in mind when we're mixing it together. Make sure we get it all from the sides as well, so we're not leaving any. Add this mixture now, just a little bit at a time, to my flour. Okay, and then just fold it in as we go. So making sure we're just folding it and we're not mixing it too much. That will help. Okay. Doesn't look quite like it. Looks a bit like curves and whey like that, doesn't it? Continue to fold that in like so. Okay. Give that a nice mix now. It's a bit like porridge at the moment, isn't it? So again, another little hard bit, trying to mix all that in. Okay, so once you've got it to a nice consistency and you're happy with that, then we want to put it into our tins. That's basically all it is to a Victoria sponge. A Victoria. Okay. Okay, so just like when we did the chocolate fudge cake, we're going to put it into 2 tins. Okay, so I've got my 2 tins ready. And I've got my grease-proof paper in there as well, just to line the tins, or you can use some melted butter to just put it around so it doesn't stick, or a bit of oil if you prefer oil, but I like to just use this sheet because it just helps to keep the shape as well, and it's much easier to get them out of the bowl after we've baked it. Let's give it one. Let's go. Okay, alright. So just spread it out evenly into your baking tins. Okay, and we do the 2 because obviously with a Victoria sponge we sandwich it with the jam. Some people just do it with jam. I like to do it with jam and cream. So I like the taste. Okay, just mix it, spread it in like so. Make sure you've not left any out. Okay, and then just give it a little shape like that, just to try and make sure it's getting to all the sides as well. Okay, so this is going to bake in a funny shape, I can tell, because it's gone like that, but that's okay, you keep smiling. Right then, so I'm going to put it in the oven now, and I'm going to put it on. Let's have a look. One at the bottom, oh, one at the top. I haven't preheated it again because I've got a fan, so I'm going to put it on at about 160, like so, and for about 20 minutes, okay? Let's get my timer on, and after 20 minutes, if it's not golden and it hasn't risen very well, and if you're touching it and it's not bouncing back, then just put it on for another few minutes, don't worry about that. But we'll have a check, and I will see you in 20 minutes. Bye. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes, so let's have a look at our cakes. Okay, so they're a nice colour, and it's very bouncy, so that will be okay. Bottom one. Yeah, brilliant. So they're done from the oven now. This is the colour that we're wanting to aim for, or a bit lighter if you want. So what we're going to do now is got to leave it to cool down, so then we can decorate it and put the cream and the jam in. So I'll see you in a little bit when it's cooled. Okay, welcome back then. So what we're going to do is finish off our Victoria sponge now. So we're going to make it look like a lovely little sandwich. So what I've done is I've chose my bottom, and just to kind of level it a bit, I've just taken the top bit off just to kind of flatten it. And what I'm going to do is get my strawberry jam. And remember, you can use whatever flavour jam you want. It doesn't have to be strawberry, but that's what I'm using. And we're just going to spread it around as much as we can around the bottom part of the cake. And you don't have to use cream with this either, that's just the way I do it. Some people like it just with cream. Just with jam. Some people do actually just eat it with cream as well, to be fair, but it's more traditionally known with the jam. Okay, so we've got a nice thick layer of jam there. Yummy, yummy. And then what I do is just turn over, which is going to be my top bit, and instead of getting all messy there, I'll put my whipped cream. So this is just whipped double cream, or you can buy whipping cream. And some people just use squirty cream, whichever you feel you like best. It's absolutely fine. We're just going to squash that on, and the little ones will enjoy to just get their fingers in this, that's all good. Alright, so a nice thick layer there of cream as well to go on the top, like so. And then get your top bit and just literally plonk it on. Alright, so you've got a lovely Victoria sponge. Now what I would normally do to finish it off is do a sieving or a sprinkling of icing sugar over the top, and you can decorate with a few strawberries on top as well. But unfortunately I couldn't find any icing sugar anywhere in the shops, so I'm just going to keep it as it is. And here it is, my lovely traditional Victoria sponge. Enjoy!